I'm putting this, first of all, glory, honor, and praise to my Father in heaven, the Father of the universe, Allah, who supports. My Father supports charity. My Father supports helping the oppressed. My Father hates those who oppress those who already are oppressed. You know, I'm like Job. Listen, I'll just give one concrete example. I had a 29-foot mobile home. It was a mobile temple. I use it for religious purposes, which the U.S. court targeted me to steal it, like they stole from my ancestors. One time I was at the gas station. I saw it was a European guy. He was laying out on the sidewalk. He had like a blanket. He was just disheveled. He was just laying outside. I hopped out. Yo, I had I had some money. I had some money on me then. I gave him, like, I didn't record this shit. I didn't do like those, like those social experiment shit. Like, I didn't do none of that shit. I hopped out. Even what all the Europeans did to my ancestors, I hopped out, gave them $125 cash. And I had my children come with me, and we gave them some socks and a fucking blanket. Like, that's just one example, my nigga. That's just one fucking example of that's just how my heart works when I see like the less fortunate or whatever. I haven't really been able to give like that because I'm in a simulation where I'm the needy and oppressed, and that's by design. You know what I mean? It's like I said, Job, Satan petitioned my Father to take everything away from Job. Job was a righteous man. Job wasn't out here doing evil shit and wasn't being an evil person or none of that. But it was just his time it was just his season for testing, and my father approved that, is what I'm saying. So that's just a season that I'm in, and I got motherfuckers out here that they want to add to my oppression. They want to add to my oppression. Like I said, it's a miracle to be able to find, number one, find somewhere to charge your electronics up, because I do research. I have so many videos that I haven't even gotten to upload just for the lack of internet and lack of charging capabilities, because the electrical outlets are being turned off and they're being taken out of public places, period. I got denied entry into the Inglewood Library because I have a lockbox and a book bag, one book bag stocked on top of another book bag, and I have a box to lock my shit up because I didn't woke up to niggas sitting next to me, stolen my phone, digging in my pockets, like doing crazy ass shit, like just while I'm asleep, just stealing my stuff. So I had to get a lockbox and like try to go to the Inglewood Library to do some ancestral research. I can't even get into the Inglewood Library. It's been other libraries too that they made me keep my stuff outside, and then I gotta worry the whole time because I gotta worry if somebody is tampering with my stuff. It's like crazy. So I got this motherfucker at Target. I literally just went up to the door because they have the internet near the door. It's not where I'm at. I'm in the back of the store now, so I'm not. But go up to the front of the store, and he's standing by the booth where people come in and out. As soon as I get up there, it was not even 20 seconds. He's telling me I can't be there, and I can't be there. Like I said, my father got it out for motherfuckers like him. Number one, I was just there. I shouldn't even have to explain that, but it's like just there to download a few songs. I didn't even get the chance to even explain that to him because he's like automatically, oh, you can't be in front of the store. Like, shut up, you liar. You just don't, you are just a bitter ass person that loves misery. You want some type of authority from your father, Satan, because Satan doesn't want us to have access to the internet. Satan doesn't, I'm saying like free access. Satan doesn't want us to have free access to fiat notes, to resources, and da 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 da. So you want to add to being's oppression. I'm in your town, the town where you work. I'm traveling. I can't even go inside the internet because I have a lockbox and 3 book bags, which one of my book bags had my clothes in it. The only clothes that I have for every single day, I have a book bag that has one book bag that has my clothes in it, one book bag that has my chargers and stuff in it, one book bag that has some more electronic chargers. I can't even get into the library. And now this guy wants to add, this Target employee wants to add to my oppression and tell me that I cannot even stand in front of the Target. I was not even there for 20 whole seconds when he said I cannot be there to use the internet. This place is disgusting. It's filthy and it's fucking disgusting. You are just like your father, Satan. See, Satan is already in his season of judgment, of suffering. And any soul that he can get to join him, because misery loves company, he is going to get to join him. And he sure did that with you. Because you were itching to tell me I had to leave the fucking Target after I spent my fucking $10. From my last $20, I spent my $10 in Target. And you want to tell me I can't stand in front of there? It's a parking garage too. It's connected to a parking garage where I was standing. Like I said, my father is set against those who want to further oppress his children. Allah meant it for good. You and your father meant it for evil. My father is still going to deal with you. My father is still going to judge you. My father is still going to make you suffer because my father said suffering produces patience. And since you don't even have the patience, you didn't even wait 20 seconds to come out and tell me I had to go. Since you couldn't even have enough patience to let me finish downloading, like, I wanted to do like 5 songs because I'm doing a universal sign language for my ancestor. I'm doing a universal sign language. I transfer the universal energies to my, number one, my ancestors, but also one of my ancestors, Nipsey Hussle, who was gruesomely, tragically murdered. He died in such a state of grief and betrayal from everyone, just everyone around in his circle, except for a couple of people, which one of them that genuinely was distraught, his brother, his mother, his father, and you know what I mean, his children, his daughter. They're in a state of grief, but the people that was around them, they wanted to be top rappers. They wanted to be in the spotlight, and everything that my ancestor Nip did, he totally overshadowed and outshined everyone. So all the people around him that wanted to be rappers, like I said, I'm not judging every rapper that was, because I'm not talking about the rappers that was put on, that was already on. I'm not talking about rappers that like Dave East and Game and Mozzie. I'm not talking about them. They curved their own, they paved their own lane. I'm not talking, they was already famous, already known. YG, I'm not talking about rappers like that. I'm talking about the ones that he was employing that was codependent upon him. They knew everything Ancestor Nip did. He got all the attention. He got all the glory on earth. He got all of the notoriety, all of the fame on earth. I'm not talking about the other famous ones. I'm talking about the ones in his inner circle they was rapping before Nipsey was even famous, and they wanted, they just wished they could walk in his shoes. So you got to watch out for people that's doing the same thing as you, that desire what you have, because you don't know that energy that they project around you. Like, man, like that desire for fame could interfere with the fame that you have already, especially if you just employing them as a store clerk or a security guard. They might be secretly resenting you, thinking, oh, I'm a better lyricist, or I got this, or I got that. The only way that I'm gonna be able to be in the limelight if his light is totally turned out, because when his light is on, like, that's all that people care about. All that people care about is what comes out of his mouth. That's it. You gotta be careful about people like that around you. And my ancestor Nip had to find that out in the afterlife, because you go through, when you depart, you go through a life review. You see the truth that was your life. He got to see everybody for who they truly were, how they truly felt. Because look, the Father of the universe, Allah, has the book of life, because my Father is the divine judge. So my Father has the book of life. Everything, every thought, word, and deed is recorded in that book of life. And when you cross over and you review your life, because look, Father say, well, you incarnated to do this, to do that. This was supposed to be your assignment, your duty, what you were supposed to learn. Did you learn it? Did you not? Good, good job, a faithful servant, da 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 da. And Nick found out everybody in his inner circle, just about, they were actually Luciferian Satanists. That means they served self. That's a lower self, narcissism. See, the vessels of Allah, the vessels of righteousness, we serve our divinity. So anything connected to higher self, anything connected to Allah, that's what we place as our most important focus. That's our duty. But the Luciferian Satanists, they're here to serve lower self. Whatever makes them rich, whatever makes them famous, whatever makes them more prettier, whatever makes them more handsome, whatever makes them more powerful. That's the master they serve. That's the difference between a Luciferian Satanist and a vessel of righteousness, a vessel of Allah. Everything that Ancestor Nip did, he just wanted to uplift his nation, his people. That everything he did was for that. Even attempting to unite two warring rival gangs of the same nation, species, race, the Bloods and the Crips. He flipped that script, and they already knew. They already had the Ancestor Nip Book of Life Akashic records, so they knew that. Because remember in the verse he said about the infiltration, because they knew he was just there as basically as a plant to get in the door, but ultimately uplift and unite his nation. He's just a universal being. He is concerned with the all, with the whole. He's not just concerned with himself. Like, if he was just concerned with himself, he would have took his money and he would have moved to Malibu, Calabasas, da 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 da, wherever. He would have left the hood completely, but he wanted to. And I know exactly how he felt, because I felt that way at one point when in a lesser degree, when I got to leave a small town, and I got to come to the West Coast, and I left and came to the beach cities, and I seen it was none of our people. Like, it was no melanated people in the beach cities, and I was like, yo, it started to really anger me. So when his horizons were expanded and he got to learn like who he really was, and he got to experience the abundant life, he was like, yo, this is being kept from my people. Yo, I can't be a part of this shit. I don't care if I gotta break the oath or not. I'm breaking the oath. I want to graft as many of my people in. And that's when he exposed everybody to Dr. Sebi, which Dr. Sebi hails from within. When you hail from within, that raises your frequency, your consciousness and awareness, and you are aligning yourself with universal abundance. So you would have the ability to get the same thing as Nip. You might get it a different route, but you would have the same ability. That's all he wanted for his people. Or you got motherfuckers, Luciferians like P. Diddy, Jay-Z. They don't listen. They take their wealth and the resources, and they keep it to themselves, man. You're not gonna see them in the hood trying to uplift their people. And these players, they were betting against my ancestor, because they already had his book of life, his Akashic records. They already knew that he was in it. He was in the game to transform the consciousness of the melanated beings. He was here for social justice, economic justice. That's what he was here for. And he knew, ain't nobody gonna listen to you unless you're a rapper. Ain't nobody gonna listen to you unless you got money. I mean, come on, he already knew that. So like I said, man, that's who I'm here. I'm downloading these songs for right now, because he was buried in so much dirt, energetic dirt, betrayal, and his departure. Everyone in his inner circle and beyond that they either wanted his spot, they either started to resent him because he had to graft in other energies so he could get more known and graft more people, and that was his ultimate goal and intent. So obviously some people could not go with him because they had a small mind. How can you take certain people that they don't even want? They don't want any unity between the Bloods and the Crips, because they might be a Crip. Nip wanted the unity of the nations. He considered them like the gangs, like tribes or whatever. He wanted the tribes to unite. And certain beings in his set, they was not for that shit. So he had to face that resentment and that jealousy and that envy, that crabs in a barrel. He had to face that, man. So he had to start. He's one of my father's vessels. I transfer that emergency energy to the divinely intended vessels of Satan, the vessels of destruction in every dimension of reality, evil against Allah. Inshallah. But Any vessel of righteousness, we read, we feel, we read negative energies, and he knew that the resistance that he was getting from his set and from certain people around him, from even trying to unite something like different, gangs or whatever. So he had to listen. If you're being energetically assaulted by people around you, whether they are jealous, jealousy is an extremely low frequency, man. That hurts. It hurts physically. Jealousy, envy, and being threatened, extorted, all that shit hurts. So he had to separate himself. And look what happened. But even though he was facing that opposition, he still stayed in where he deemed home, with the ultimate goal of freeing a nation. Because it's not about freeing a nation physically. It's about freeing the minds. That's what any Christ consciousness being that came to free the minds of the people. Look, guys, I'm going to show you how you can do it. Let me set an example for you so you can see how you can free your own self. Because he knew he can't free anybody but himself. But he could show them the divine blueprint and how to do it. And he set a beautiful example. Anybody could have took that example and ran. You see what I'm saying? So, oh my gosh, just like, imagine if you were the one. All you wanted to do was free a nation, and you had all these beings around you betraying. They were secretly envious, jealous. They betrayed you. You had somebody come back 2 times, fire on the great hope for the nation, and not one person defended him. Not one person defended him. His brother, and listen, him and his brother, they're twins. They're spiritual twins. Because my father's force is so great that you remember when Yahushua was on the earth, his force was too great that he was killed, because his authority and his power and his force was so great. So because we're in a different timeline than the full Christ consciousness, the full manifestation of Allah on the earth, we're not in that timeline. So he split off with his brother. They are a part of the same soul monad, the same soul consciousness. They split off into different vessels. They're basically like energetic spiritual twins, pretty much. They're spiritual twins. And they just had spiritual agreements to assist each other with a divine mission. Right? So they're no different than if a twin was physically incarnate. They feel each other's emotions. He feels all that Nip is ancestor Nip is still experiencing in his afterlife. Ancestor Nip had to learn everyone that was a key player in his demise. The one he never thought that these beings so close to him was envious, jealous, wanted his spot. Their energy was influencing his demise. It's like I've been doing clearings for him, clearing the energies of frenemies. He had a bunch of frenemies around because most of them wanted to be rappers. Most of them wanted to be rappers in the top spot. But you got to understand how this game works, man. Many are called. The minuscule are chosen. You gotta have a certain what's that? You just gotta have a certain Nip ancestor Nip had it. They did not. They do not. But you can't tell them that. He found out, and after reviewing his book of life, every thought, word, and deed that was recorded from him, even his whole reality, everything in his reality was recorded. He just found out about all the betrayals, all of the jealousy, envy, he found out all of that. Oh my gosh, when you talk about rolling over in your grave, I keep hearing skull and bones. I need somebody to check, because I still keep asking Ancestor Nip, why were you laid in the ground like that? You are, first of all, you lived lifetimes as a conqueror, as an ancient pharaoh. Why didn't you have why weren't you being because I'm saying as ancient royalty, pharaohs, we preserve the bodies in such a way that your transition into the afterlife would be a positive experience. It would be smooth. Why were you just laid in the ground like that? Why didn't you have your own mausoleum? Why wasn't your body preserved and like frankincense and myrrh and the most expensive and precious um, herbs, oils, ointments, and everything that you loved and held dearly? Why were you not buried with that? Why were you just buried in a basic plot in the ground next to these commoners when it was nothing common about Ancestor Net? I don't understand that. I need somebody to check if his remains are still there, because I keep hearing skull and bones. Because when you depart in such trauma, it tethers you to the lower dimensions. It literally tethers you to the lower dimensions. That's how they bind people. That's how they bound our ancestors, by inflicting so much trauma onto our ancestors that our ancestors were not able to, like you say, you never die. Well, it's something called the second death. When you separated from the true and living God, you experience the second death. That separation from the true and living God for however long. My ancestors I'm just waking my ancestors up. I'm from the lowest dimensions of hell, of what the type of trauma that they departed in. And it's the same thing for Nip. Like I said, I keep hearing skull and bones. So I know, like, it was one college, they dug up my Jipa Geronimo, Native American Apache tribe leader. They dug his skull up, and they have it in the I think it's still in the college, because they do binding rituals to make sure that when it's a great spirit like that, they make sure that that spirit can't resurrect. Because if that spirit was to resurrect, that spirit would absolutely get divine justice. That would be a revenge spirit, like the movie Jimmy Bones, when Snoop Dogg played. It would be just like Jimmy Bones, just like that movie. And they knew that was the story. They knew that was the story of the ancestor Nip. So they had to just throw so much energetic dirt on him. They had to bury him, like, with so much trauma. But Allah, see, my father bypassed all of your wickedness and your evilness, because Ancestor Nip, his intent was pure. All he wanted to do, he didn't even care about himself like that. He didn't care about that shit like that, the material like that. He just wanted to uplift humanity, uplift his nation. My father elected him for resurrection, to be able to be reconciled. Ancestor Nip doesn't have to spend eons in the grave in hell like my ancestors had. My ancestors had to spend so much time in hell. I'm just resurrecting them. This story, my ancestor Nip, this story, it's Jimmy Bones. It's Jimmy Bones, man. He gets to, because we're at the end of a life cycle anyway. We're crossing over into a new age, an age of a divine order. So this is why he was able to do the things that he did. So they couldn't bury him too deep, because my father said your good outweighs your negative. Your positive outweighed your negative. Your intent was pure. I elect you for resurrection to be redeemed by the true and living God. You don't have to spend ages and eons of time suffering. You get to come right back. We're going to wipe your slate clean, and you are going to get the chance to be reconciled back to the true and living God, the Father of the universe, Allah. See, that's what happened. See, Luciferians, they only get the small fraction, a portion of things. They are so narcissistic and just small-sighted. They're like, oh, this was such a big energy. Let's harvest this vessel's energy, and we're going to do every type of ritual, blood magic, sex magic, sacrifice, human sacrifice, betrayal. We're gonna bestow upon him so much trauma that he's going to be in a state of death for how they just, like, they thinking they gonna do him like they did my ancestor. But see, but Allah, we are in an age, this is the age of Aquarius, of divine justice. So you're seeing the ancestor come back. Now the truth of his case is starting to open up, because you've had my father appointed certain beings, one like myself, is other beings out here. We are able to, because we have a human vessel, we're able to do this transmutation work for him, get this dirt, this energetic dirt that they literally buried the ancestor nip in. See, because we're connected to the ancestors. We're connected to the ancestors. So we've been given an assignment. He's one of the ancestors that we're assigned to take the grief, the betrayal, the jealousy, the envy, the injustice, and all that. And we're alchemists. We're already alchemists. Like myself, I'm already an alchemist. I already know how to transmute a negative energy into a state of 0 point or neutrality to the positive. I already know how to do that. It's a science behind doing that. So Father has appointed vessels that are already in this work. You may call it a medium, you may call it a high priestess, you may call it a minister, you may call it an intermediary from the dead. That means you're just in a state of separation from the true and living Creator, because my father has zero negative emotions. So if you die in a state of negative emotions, you have to go through a period of changing them. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, merely transmitted, transmuted, or transferred. It just changes from one state to another. So the same way you guys use pastors and preachers to pray for you to get to a so-called God, and they're not even doing that shit. But it's certain vessels that have a direct connection to the Father in heaven, and we're able to take, all right, Nip alerts me of an injustice that this one bestowed upon him, this one inflicted upon him. He transfers that negative emotion to my vessel. I feel it as my own. I do transmutation work, whether it be fasting. Fasting burns negative information stored, programmed into the cells in the form of negative energy, whether it be grief, pain, suffering, trauma, betrayal, torment, all that stuff is programmed in the cells. And when you fast, you burn negative dis-ease cells. So I go into whatever process of transmutation I go through. I feel his pain. I feel who's betrayed him. it comes up in my vessel, and I transmute it. I turn it from one state to the next, which we're in the process of getting him back to 0 point so that he can reincarnate into a brand new template of divinity. See, it's not going to be what he experienced in the character Nipsey Hussle. He's actively working with certain vessels to dissolve that character, because that character led to a dead end. He said it in his verse, like, this life of crime doesn't lead to any happy endings. I paraphrase it, because at the time, I you know I'm just doing all spiritual work. I'm not even listening to trap music, rap music. My father literally assigned Nip to me, ancestor Nip, along with my other ancestors, Native American tribes, indigenous tribes, that I have to transmute their pain, sorrow, and suffering, because they can't do it. They don't have the tools and ability to do it in a state of suffering. When ancestor Nip, when he learned about all of the players that were actually betting against him, when he learned like how many people in his inner circle were against him, he was so brokenhearted, so distraught. So he felt such despair, because I had to feel it. I have to. I'm not finished. I have to feel that for him so I can transmute it for him. Like I said, in his other vessels that Father has appointed to assist him in getting divine justice on this earth, man. So, man, it infuriates me, like I said, when somebody does. I needed these songs because these are songs that are within his algorithm. I use the Reiki healing energy, universal sign language, which I send it to him in the dimensions. He's in other dimensions. Now I send that energy. I transfer that energy to him. It makes him feel so much better. It makes him feel so much better. It heals him so much. And I got these fuck niggas telling me I can't even stand in front of the Target to download these songs for Ancestor Nip. And that's why I said, that's why they're going to burn in hell. That's why the lake of fire is waiting on them, man. Because they're just like their father Satan, these Luciferians, they're evil. They was praying on Ancestor Nip the whole time, down to the processions. They were all energy harvesting rituals, man. They were, and Nip, Ancestor Nip told me they were all energy harvesting rituals. These big groups and gatherings, because these negative forces, they feed off of negative energy. They were the ones that conspired this against the Ancestor Nip, his departure in such a traumatic way. They were the ones that conspired it, and then they had everyone as a group, as a collective, just generating these negative emotions, these traumatic emotions connected to the Ancestor Nip's vessel. And negative energy, fear-based energy, feeds the spiritual wickedness in high places. So these were all energy harvesting rituals. And he had to live through that. Because all of that, listen, when you have a gathering that large, because he had, not only at the Staples Center, they had the BET one, they had the one at his grave site, they had all these murals where people continually come. The person gets sad. Who do they have in mind when they're sad? It's being directed somewhere, right? Who is it being directed at? It's being directed at Ancestor Nip. He has to continually live in the mourning energy when these energy harvesting rituals are done on his behalf. And I get to feel it. I get to feel it. I've never felt anything this heavy. And at times, I tell my father, Father, I don't want no parts in this. But my father has assigned me to this. I cannot even escape this. I was never even the type to go to funerals. I'm talking about for my own family. And I'm like, yo, this is too grievous. I be telling Ancestor Nip, I don't want to do this. I can't believe you went through this. I can't believe this pain and this torment that's still being directed to you to this day, 4 or 5 years later. I can't believe this. I be wanting to tap out from this duty, from this assignment. That's how grievous it is. That's how grievous he felt. It's like, man, they ain't buried him 6 feet under, man. They didn't even bury him 6 feet under. They're continually throwing dirt on his legacy, on him, on just total gaslight and everything. People around him like, yo, you should have nothing to say in the media if you didn't defend this man that did everything for y'all. If you were there to defend and protect and you failed that duty, you should have nothing. And I'm not talking about his brother. His brother thought. He thought. Oh yeah, that's a gang. They ride or die, man. He thought they would be true, 100, and at least defend his honor. Like, why wouldn't you? I would think so. Like, yo, if Nip goes, that's the end of y'all financial realities, your financial abundance. But nah, because see, this was a backdoor event. People were getting paid to keep quiet, people were getting paid to stay out of the way. People were getting orders to stay out of the way. So it didn't matter because guess what? They never wanted to be employees in the first place. They wanted to his spot. They wanted to be the top, the chosen trapper. They wanted that spot. So they have resentment anyway. It's easy to pay a motherfucker off like that or threaten a motherfucker like that to get out the fucking way. So like I said, man, I'm not even talking about Sam. Sam actually thought that they had his back. But yo, this man comes through not once but twice. And listen, I just wholeheartedly believe if it would have stopped at the first assault, I believe he still would have been here. And I'm not judging whether he even wanted to be here after that or not. Because if I crossed over into the next dimension and I found that everyone around me, except for a few, was snakes, I'd be like, yo, I don't want to be here anyway. Because then that's going to build a resentment in him. He going to have to replace everybody. He not going to have nobody to trust. That's grief right there. And that would endanger his life if he had to, all right, I found out when I crossed over who y'all actually really were. I'm cutting ties. I don't want nothing to do with y'all. That could have put his life in danger on Earth too. I'm saying for a second time. So I'm not judging that aspect of it, but after the first assault, it should have been man down. After the first assault, it should have been man down. And he probably would have still been here. That's probably why he came back the second time. So that was total betrayal, consciously or unconsciously. If you paying motherfuckers to honor and defend you and protect you. When it comes that time that you actually need the protection, everyone is ghost. How you think he felt when when he went through he went through the book of life, when the book of life was read to him? How do you think that he felt with all this? So that's when I'm just saying, like, my vessel gets to feel that, man. And it's just infuriating. It's enraging that he feels like, oh my gosh. Whoever, it was some gaslighting story on the news that said he was done with his mission. Nip told me he would have never impressed that upon the heart and mind of the ones that he loved so dearly, especially his. It was something about his daughter that was real. He had a real divine connection with her. He already said in an interview, like, he doesn't even agree with having a child not be raised with the father figure. He understood the psychology behind it, which it produces an unhealthy individual. So that's not the way he intended to go out. He would have never wanted to leave his daughter. The last thing she remembered about her father is grief. Not even his mother, but especially his daughter. He would never leave under such traumatizing circumstances. He would never leave his daughter to have that memory, to have that impressed upon her subconscious mind, to have that impressed upon her memory every day. That was a lie. That news story, they just want everybody to be complacent so Ancestor Nip never gets divine justice. But bitch, it's not happening. That's not happening. So like I say, he was totally, like, if you can imagine, like when they say rolling over in your grave, that's how he was. Like, he still is to a large degree, but he's getting his justice. But it was like he was rolling around in his grave, what they were doing to his feet, his vessel. Like, basically they tethered him in such sorrow, despair, depression, grief. Like this, the same way if you're in a human vessel and like despair and depression, it doesn't allow you to even see your way to the light of the end of the tunnel. It doesn't allow you to see clearly. It doesn't allow you to it doesn't. So like I said, his positive outweigh his negative, and Father assigned him vessels to do this work for him. And that's why now more and more of the truth is coming to light. That's all you seeing. More and more of the truth is coming to light, because he's breaking. It's like that Thriller movie. The Thriller movie when they start breaking out of the ground, from the dirt, and they start coming up. And when they come up, they still like zombies. They still dead, but they was able to come up from the dirt. That's how Ancestor Nip is right now. So we're gonna be getting this dirt off of him until he's free. Until he's free. Divine justice is served in his case, in every dimension in reality. That's in the name of Allah, inshallah.